This is the second time Apple's mixed it up.
Mixed it up.
So, if people who aren't aware and don't stare at the internet like we do,
Yeah.
there's an Apple event coming on May 7th. It's going to be their iPad event
hmm
or whatever. However, for the past, 10 years, maybe longer than that, they've always done, it was like 2 p.m. live keynotes. Then the COVID happened and they changed things up a little bit, but they're still like 2 p.m. events.
hmm
This one, which is the second in a row, their Vision or whatever their last one was like a pre-recorded thing early. This one is at 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific. So it's not
That's
like their
right.
tradition.
Why?
Maybe they feel that their old style was kind of just that old and they're doing something different. I don't know, but whatever.
I, I'm
This
I'm
is
always
two in a row.
it's curious to me what they decide to have an event for. Like the M3 MacBook Air didn't warrant anything, but
Mm-hmm.
the new iPads do for some reason. I know that the iPad Pros are going to get a new, more laptop-like keyboard
Yeah,
thingamajig,
that's
which I think is a good idea. Other than the fact that software needs to be updated to make that thing make sense. And then there's going to be like a new, bigger version of the iPad Air, which is going to match the two sizes they have for the iPad Pro, sorry, but they're going to use the old key.
if you put a
Why?
gun to my head and you're like, describe the iPad SKUs and what they're
I
designed
know.
for, I would be like, just shoot me. Like,
Explain. Yeah. I look, sizes are fine. I mean, there's an iPad mini and a normal iPad. Like, just leave it there. And then on the Pro side, same thing. They just have two sizes. They're both productivity focused, I guess, or like at least can be used for that purpose. And just leave it there. Like the iPad Air is like a what is it? It's like there's nothing between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. There's not like
yeah,
a MacBook sort of Pro. you know, I just don't. Maybe the pricing gulf is a problem. I don't know what the issue is, but I just
they
don't
should just
agree
call
with
it
it.
the iPad Extra parts because it's like they took some from the left bin, some from the right bin, and
Yeah, I mean well, when it first debuted, I'm not saying it made sense, but it brought the iPad Pro style, which I like, down to a more reasonable price as an alternative to the
mm-hmm.
standard iPad. And I think it also, yeah, I think from the beginning, I could be wrong, but the one I got certainly does USB-C charging, which obviously huge, and now not a problem. But I don't know. I don't think there's a big the the line between a normal iPad and the iPad Air, and then the line between an iPad Air and an iPad Pro
Mm-hmm.
is so subtle in both directions. I just don't see the need for it. But
Here's a question that I don't even know the answer. Can you run Parallels on this thing and then put Windows on there?
no,
Damn.
no, and that's well, no. The answer is no. But I mean, that's another one of those questions. Like, why doesn't Apple just let you run Mac apps on or whatever? And it's like, well, the reason they never went touch on the Mac was because in their view, every app would have to be rewritten for touch, and that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. No, that's unfortunate, and I can't justify it for work. So then I'm not buying one.
Yeah. Well, I fundamentally though, um, the iPad Pro is constrained from a software perspective, and I just that's just an Apple design/strategy decision.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a great productivity tool, and I know it is for some people right now. I know that, but I mean, just general purpose, like you could get this instead of a laptop. Um, it's very interesting, but they just don't. They don't make it mainstream enough.
All right, need you to explain this because you can explain it better than I can.
Mm.
Take a deep breath here.
Boy loves a girl. No, wait. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Snapdragon X Plus and
Yep.
Alexa, uh, Elite X. There are multiple chips or something now
Yeah.
in this portfolio. It's not just
Well, they haven't announced that, so that's the rumor. But
what
I
it,
mean, I will say when I went to New York to meet with Qualcomm, I saw at least three different versions of. They were all identified as an X Elite chipset. I saw three.
Yeah.
I noticed that other people that wrote about this event said there were two.
Mhm.
So, but I'm telling you, there were three. I I think I took pictures of all three. There are differences. I mostly down to clock speed based on the data or the on-screen information, but I don't know how they're going to market this. I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about that X Elite X Plus thing that leaked with the Surface something Surface Pro 10 um suggests that's one of the, they're going to tier this chipset somehow, right? Like just like Intel has Core i5, i7, i9, whatever, so we'll see where they land. I mean, Microsoft's got their little not quite event happening right for build in May. They're going to probably announce those Surface devices. I do have a source. I should say this. I'm it's not really, you can't really read an article about this, I guess, but I did have a source close to Microsoft, we'll say, who confirmed that there will be 13 and 15-inch Surface laptops and Surface Pro 10 based on the new Qualcomm chipsets. Yeah. They didn't identify the chipsets, but all three of those. Yeah, it's not. When I first read this, I read it as 15-inch only, and I was like, wait, what? But no, it's 13 and 15 on the laptop, and then whatever the Pro is, 12.9 or something, or what is it now? It might be 13 now, actually. Whatever it is.
Something.
So that's good. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. We've seen a couple of leaks. The thing you're talking about is based on I think it's a ThinkPad T series, T40 or something, which is a great laptop. But remember the T is a laptop, like it's not an Ultrabook. Before we had Ultrabooks, the T series was like the big one. Like now we have X1, that's the big one, but like the one everyone wants. But back in the day, there was a T series, was standard high-end premium laptop, and then they made an S version of it, so it'd be like a T, whatever the model number was, like T400S, and that was like for slim. So that was like a slimmer version, and I think they actually might still make both today, but they also now have X, which is the thin and light, the X brand, I guess. And we'll see. So we've had 2 Lenovo leaks so far. I think one was like a yoga something.
Yeah,
something
I think all the vendors are going to show up and be like, ta-da.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen at build per se, but I mean,
but coming up, like in the next whatever quarter,
in the next 2 weeks to 6 weeks. I mean, it's got to be, right. We'll see. I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know, because I don't. The truth is, I don't know, but all signs indicate we're going to get something soon. So
the other thing that's out of left field but impacts both of us, so why not? The Sonos app overhaul will be interesting. First off, they're killing their PC app, which I don't think anybody used anyways. But
because it was terrible, right?
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, if they get that right, here's the thing. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but the web version of that app is particularly interesting, not because it is a web app, right, which I know is a weird sticking point for people, but because a limitation of the Sonos ecosystem, and one of the 3-ish things I don't like about Sonos, which are all sort of, to me, related to the app, is that you can't take it with you. Like if I'm on a plane and I go into the Sonos app, it doesn't work, right? Because there's no Sonos equipment. But so then why would I create playlists in this thing, which, granted, the songs can come from multiple services, which is a pro, but then I can't play them on the go. So they are coming out with headphones, right? We know this. It's been delayed, but June-ish, they're going to come out with their first headphones. And those things are going to have to work out in the world. And I think the web app thing might be based on the same back end something, right? I think that, so sorry to interrupt you, but I think that the web app is interesting to me for that reason. I think it's tied into this stuff has to work out in the world. It can't just be on your Wi-Fi network, right? So I mean, we'll see. That might make Sonos more interesting as a place to create playlists for me, because I do listen to music at home. We have a music night almost every weekend, right? But I listen to most music when I'm out in the world, either driving the car, going to the gym, on a plane, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And I can't use Sonos for that right now. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Hoping they get rid of the brown. That's all that
I hate that app so much.
It's so ugly. It's such a...
We've talked about this, and part of the problem for me, of course, is I use YouTube Music, and Google and Sonos are at war right now. Right. So the old version of that app, the Google Play Music app, could control Sonos speakers just like you can on an iPhone with AirPlay and any app really. So I have to use the Sonos app, and it makes me crazy. And you can't edit the way when you're playing music. getting music into there or moving music around is so much harder than it is in any music app. Like it's kind of hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so kludgy. I just hate it so much. So what I've seen from the pictures looks good. It's definitely a major improvement. I'm not sure if it's going to fix all my problems, but um, if you use like you do, I think you use Spotify, right? So
Yep.
you can control Sonos from Spotify. You
Yep.
ever have to see this piece of crap? Other
Yeah.
than
Unless
sometimes you go
the
into
groupings. The groupings are the one thing you can't do in Spotify, which is really annoying.
uh oh, well, I mean, if you go through AirPlay, you can, meaning add and remove speakers from a group, like the
Yeah.
playback group. You can do that. Like, and I only know that because that's what I do with YouTube
Can you
Music.
maybe?
Yeah,
Hold on.
try the AirPlay menu,
Well,
like
see, the
in
problem is
the
not all my stuff's AirPlay.
well, well, no, I mean if it's Sonos, it is right. In
No,
other
no,
words,
no. Some of the old Sonos stuff is not AirPlay.
oh, do you have like S1 equipment?
What?
Like you have equipment on the S1? Yeah,
No, but it's like the very
starting.
first gen ones or whatever. I thought were not
Oh, I don't know about that, but everything I have works on AirPlay. So,
group rooms.
like, I do
Oh,
this a
yeah.
lot with.
So no, you can't do what I want.
No, what do you want? What is it you
So
want?
I have groups set up in Sonos. So I open
Mhm.
them up in Spotify, and I can see like office, bedroom, basement.
Mhm.
I can't I can't combine them in this interface.
Oh, because they're groups. Well, okay, you can combine individual speakers though.
Well, let's see.
I mean, in other
Groupings.
words,
Nope.
like
It wants to open the Sonos app.
I'm sorry, but what's that interface? Where are you doing this from?
So this is Spotify or whatever. You click the
Yeah,
little speaker button, and then
I
it pulls up all your
yep. Let me look.
Wi-Fi or whatever speakers.
For some reason, I have Lou Reed's "Walk on the Wild Side" queued up in Spotify. I'm not
So
pretty
like
sure
I
I've never
have a
played this
speaker
song
in
in
my
my life.
garage. Like I can click garage and I can play to the garage. I haven't. What is AirPlay or Bluetooth?
Well, that's where you're going to see it. That you'll get the AirPlay menu. That's what I'm saying. And in here, you can just check off the ones you want. You do it on the
Mm.
fly. You're not creating groups per se. You just for right now, I want these three speakers or whatever it is to play.
Oh yeah, that does work.
Yeah, no, it's AirPlay. Like it just works. I mean, it's not perfect. Like I mean, it can be a little glitchy or whatever, but it works. Like the point is, you can select individual
Oh yeah, I've
speakers.
never done that. So I can definitely tell you that I
Well,
have
the
certain.
reason it's because the way you use Spotify, you just used to it just work. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm coming from the outside, so like you can play any app that can play music or audio can go through AirPlay on an iPhone or an
Hmm.
iPad, and you could do what I just described. So
Well,
it's
learn
just
something new today.
it's nice.
I can
It's
tell you
nice
though
and
that I do have certain Sonos Play ones that are not AirPlay because the
okay.
speaker in my garage does not, and the speaker in my office does not, and actually one of the
And it
speakers.
connects with Spotify Connect though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
At
I
least
can
that
get
works.
to it if I create a group in Spotify or in Sonos, and then it shows
Listen,
up.
if this was seamless and always worked, it wouldn't be technology,
Yeah.
right?
Anyways, May 7th, you can get an iPad and a new OS for
Yeah, it's the same day for both those, right?
yeah. I'm sure that made Sonos real happy once Apple came out and said it.
Well, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
glad they do. This is so overdue. Every time I have to load that app, I groan.
Well, it's
It's
just
so terrible.
brown. It's 1970s
It's
brown.
it's not just the look of it. It's just terrible. It just doesn't work well. Stupid Sonos.